All right, folks, welcome back to Brazilian Wood Depot's YouTube channel, where I go over everything regarding Brazilian hardwoods like Ipe. I've made some videos about oiling and cleaning. I've made a video about the sun's exposure, and I've been meaning to make this video about fastening methods for a while. I've gotten so much good feedback over my other videos that I decided, okay, finally it's time to get to it. Now, I've been waiting for some quiet times with the machines, but that doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen. So today I'm wearing earmuffs so I can try to think straight, and hopefully this lapel mic's going to be able to pick everything up that I say. I guess we'll find that out during editing. But in any case, fastening methods, we're going to be going over 4 main ones today and a couple ancillary ones, starting with face screwing. But yeah, fastening methods, let's get started. Alright, so the first type of fastening method, and we're going to get into 4 today. The first one I'm going to talk about is just regular face screwing. You're putting a screw straight through the face of the boards. Now, there's a couple things very important to note, and I'm going to try to keep it short. Perhaps I'll have another video going into detail of each of these specific ones, but I want to get through all 4, and to be able to do that in a reasonable amount of time, I got to kind of move fairly quickly. First of all, with face screwing, you have to use stainless steel screws. If you use anything but stainless steel, let's say coated steel for instance, what will happen is that water in combination with the metal particles in the coated steel screws will react with the oils in the wood that will create a black ring around the heads of those screws. Now, you can remove the black ring with a muriatic acid solution. The problem is they keep coming back. So you have to use stainless steel screws, and for a couple of different reasons, you have to also pre-drill those holes. The main reason you have to pre-drill the holes is if you try to drive a stainless steel screw, even if it's wood tapping like the screws we're about to talk about, what will end up happening is the wood will grab so hard on those screws because it's such a dense wood that you'll end up spinning the heads off the screws, and it'll drive you crazy. You have to pre-drill the holes, and they have to be stainless steel. So those are the 2 main things to consider. Now, the screws that we sell are deck-wise 2.5-inch number 8 T15 self-tapping, self-wood tapping stainless steel brown-headed screws. I know I repeated myself a couple times, but there is the screws that we sell. It's a great product. We're going to be talking a little bit more probably about some other deck-wise products. We've been selling these a long time, and they're really good screws. Again, they're brown-headed, so you can't see the stainless steel sheen that you typically would. We also have them in 1.5 inch if perhaps you need shorter screws for whatever different circumstances you might be trying to accommodate. Now, as far as pre-drilling the holes, we love these. It's a Starborn product called the Smart Bit. This is Smart Bit number 8. The Smart Bit is a pre-drilling tool, and it also creates a recessed head. So it's a pre-drill countersink tool. There's a little blade down here next to the stopper that countersinks the head, and there's 1/8 inch drill bits in the tool itself. Also, it comes with an Allen key so that you can loosen them up, and 2 more replacements in case you break those 1/8 inch drill bits. And if you're going pretty fast and you're heating them up quite a bit, you will probably break them. So we also sell replacement bit kits or replacement bit packs. Typically, you won't need this unless you're going maybe 500 square feet or more, but we have them. They're inexpensive, and the tool's inexpensive as well. So really, these 3 products kind of go hand in hand. They kind of all go together. Perhaps you don't need the replacement kit, so these are the ones that go together. Highly recommend both of them. We've been selling them both for a long time, and they're really great products. Moving right along, let me take a sip of water because it is getting hot. I'm trying to rush through this before the heat kicks in. And now we're getting into the second method of fastening that I want to go over, and it is the first of the 3 methods of hidden fastening or blind fastening. And the first one is deck clips. If you've been doing some research, you've probably read about all different types of deck clips, and that's great. That's good. There's a lot of them out there. Some products are better than others. You want to go into more detail, we can talk by phone or by email. These are Aura clips. They are 599 Magni coated clips. They look like a T, and basically, and I should have got a piece of wood, but I'll throw an image up on the side here just so you can see that these T's have 1/2 inch wings on the side, and that's what's grabbing the sides of the board to fasten them down to the joist. You'll use a screw. In fact, you'll use this screw, a coated steel screw, going directly through the clip, there, directly through the clip into the joist, and it will grab the boards by the side. We love this design. It's simple, it's tried, it's tested, it's true, it works really well. Again, there are other types of deck clips on the market. Some of them are okay, some of them are not okay. I'm happy to go into detail why we really like this. Now, when you're using any form of deck clips, and these as well, you really should be using subfloor adhesive. Liquid nails works fine. There's other products that work fine, but you need to use subfloor adhesive on the joist. Reason for that is, excuse me, the reason for that is boards expand and contract over time, and that's just should be expected. It's just the nature of wood. And what can happen is they can move off their center line when they're expanding and contracting. They're kind of walking, is what I like to call it. They simply walk away from each other or towards each other, which means the other boards are away from each other. That 1/8 inch gap that is provided by this down stem here gets larger or smaller. Well, not smaller, but it gets larger if boards walk away from each other. That glue keeps them from walking. It keeps them directly on their center line. So not only is it highly recommended, it really should be used anytime you're using deck clips. And then the next fastening method we'll get to, you will want to use glue as well. I think that's all I have for deck clips. I'm going to get into some of the trim board work in just a minute. But let's move on to the next fastening system called camo fastening. It's actually called camo edge fastening. So this system comes with a handful of different items. The first one is the Camo Marksman Pro. There's the box there. Camo Marksman Pro is basically a shim. It's a handheld tool. When you squeeze this lever, it opens up the plates and grabs the board. There's a couple different tightening points here, but basically you squeeze the tool, it grabs the board here, and then there are holes here that guide your pilot hole or your pre-drill tool in at a 45-degree angle into the corners of the boards. So as opposed to going through the face of the boards, they're going into the corners at a 45-degree angle. I absolutely love this system. Not a whole lot of distributors of these woods are talking much about this, but it's a fabulous, fabulous system for a number of reasons. But first, before I get to the reasons, let's talk about a couple of the other aspects. The screws that come with them, they are 1 7/8 inch screws. This happens to be a 350-piece box of them. These are the ProTech coated steel screws. Now, the reason I told you need to use stainless steel screws for face screwing is because they will develop an oxidation ring around the heads of the screws. Well, Sam, why can I use coated steel on the camo system but not on the face screw system? The reason for that is because they're going into the 45-degree angle on the corner of the boards, water runs down and on the outside. So any marks, oxidation marks that might be left by these screws actually would be on the sides of the boards that aren't visible at all. So that's the reason why we typically sell the ProTech coated steel screws as opposed to the camo stainless steel screws. Now, if you ask camo, they'll tell you do need to use the stainless steel screws. Not sure why. There's a million reasons why they could be saying that. And that's fine. They work great. There's no problem with them. But the steel screws are stronger. And again, you don't have to worry about oxidation on the face because the water is not going to go from the corners up to the top. It's only going to fall down to the side. We've been using these screws for a very, very long time, and they don't have the oxidation problem. They simply don't. And again, because they're coated steel, they're stronger. With this system, you'll also need the pre-drill, the pre-drill bits. 2 come in a pack. Depending on how big the deck is, maybe you'll need a couple packs. And then the drive bits. Both the pre-drill and the drive bits fit through the holes on this little handheld tool. See, there's one on each side. You do each side at one time. The spacer plates on this tool are 3/16, and this is where people make the mistake. People try to purchase their hardware outside of where they get their lumber. Maybe they think they can get a better deal, or I'm not really sure why they do that, but they do that, and that's the biggest mistake. They get the wrong tool. They get the tool with 1/8 inch plates, or I think there's a couple different sizes of them. But anyways, you need the tool with the 3/16 inch. There's a couple different reasons, but the main reason is because of the angle you're going in at. If it's a smaller plate, you end up nicking the board next to it, and that's no bueno. So anyways, 3/16 inch plate, that's the one you want to go to. And again, that is called the Camo Marksman Pro. There's the box one more time. I just pulled that straight out of there. I'll be putting up some instructions or links to the instructions in the description section if you need that. So, oh, one more thing with the Camo I forgot to mention. When compared to the clip system, the Camo is perhaps a little less discreet. The screws are coming in at an angle from the corners, whereas these are below the face of the board, in between the boards, holding the boards down, so they're below the face of the boards is what I'm getting at. So perhaps the Camo is a little less discreet, although I think you're really splitting hairs saying that one is more discreet than the other, and people want to argue with that. That's fine. Everybody has their preferences. I happen to be partial to this system. Now with this system, and this is the Camo system by the way again, you don't have the boards shouldn't be grooved. Not only do they not have to be, they should not be grooved, and you're going to save some money there. Folks are charging anywhere from 35 cents to 45 cents to 50 cents a linear foot for the groove. So without the groove, you're saving yourself a lot of money. Not only that, but some headache, right? Because you don't want your last board to have a groove on the edge. You don't really need it on your first board, on the first groove. And you certainly don't want them on the stair tread. So now you're trying to figure out, okay, which boards need grooves, which boards don't need grooves. With the Camo system, you don't have to worry anything about that. Pardon me, it's dusty in here. With the Camo system, you don't need the grooves. It saves a lot of headache, and especially for our out-of-state customers who trying to figure out a board exchange can be a little bit cumbersome, or maybe quite a bit cumbersome. I love this system. One thing to note about the system is after you get the boards tight, sometimes you'll find a couple days later, especially if it's heavy sunlight, that the boards start to creak a little bit, and it's like, whoa. But it seems like I had them really tight with the screw. The reason that they may not be as tight after a couple days is because the width of the board actually shrunk in the sunlight, so those screws just aren't holding as tight as they used to. All you need to do is one of two things. Either tighten those screws back down. Another quarter of a turn is what most of the installers are telling me. Another quarter of a turn will solve that problem, but even better than that, just use subfloor adhesive when you're putting the boards down, just like I said with the clips, and you won't have that problem at all. The boards will never creak. That subfloor adhesive has a great hold on them. Yes, you can tighten those down again, like I said with the quarter turn. I think using the subfloor adhesive is a better use of time and effort, but it's really a matter of preference, frankly. Okay, method number 4, and I'm flying through this. Deckmaster system by Grabber. The Deckmaster system is basically an undermount system. You are screwing these brackets to the top of the joist, and you're driving screws up from the bottom and making the threads grab the bottom of the board. So to say that this is hidden fastening is absolutely true. You can't see anything pretty much at all. I mean, perhaps if you look directly between the boards, like standing overhead of them, maybe you could see the bracket. I guess you could, but it is certainly the most discreet of the fastening methods. Now, the problem with this is there's a lot of limitations, right? If your deck's fairly close to the ground, you don't have access to it, it's not going to be a good option. If it's too high off the ground, and you'd be working on a ladder the whole time, maybe it's not the best option either. Those are really the main limitations for this. Again, I'll throw up the instructions, but those are the brackets that you can see there in the picture. It's a great system. It does have its limitations. I believe it comes with both of the different types of screws that you need, the ones that go into the joist and then the ones that come up from the bottom and grab the board. But that is really all I have to say. Again, that is Deckmaster by a company called Grabber. Now, with these hidden fastening methods, all three of them, the deck clips, the Camo system, the Deckmaster, you have to do some sort of different fastening on the first board run, the edge usually closest to the home, usually the last board run, and then if you're picture framing, maybe the whole outside edge, and then the stair treads, perhaps the outside edge and the inside edge of the stair treads. You'll have to use something different because these systems just can't accommodate those situations. So there, in our opinion, are two good methods to do that. My favorite method is the Pro Plug system. If you've done some research, you probably found it. It is an awesome system. It comes with the plugs. You can see in this box, this happens to be, I think, a 350 count. Yeah, 350 count. It comes with 350 screws, 350 plugs, one Pro Plug glue nozzle, and a driver bit. The screws that come with this system are stainless steel. Frankly, as a secret, they don't really have to be stainless steel because you're not going to see the heads of the screws. But in any case, the kits come with stainless steel screws, so there you go. Also, you will want, because this does not come in the kit, the Pro Plug drill tool. It's very similar actually to the Smart Bit, and as it turns out, I believe they are made by the same company, Starborn Industries. There it is. So very similar to the Smart Bit. Of course, the cutter head on this one's larger because you're boring the hole for the plug. Can you see that from there? If not, I'll put up a picture. Of course, there's a good description on the bottom there. Pause the video and maybe you can take a look at that. Again, very similar to the Smart Bit, and as it turns out, they're made by the same company, Starborn Industries. So anyways, that is one method, again, one method of handling your, what I call trim boards. First board next to the house, last board, maybe picture frame, certainly stair treads, a lot of the time fascia. But anyways, it's a great system. It's super, super easy. Any DIYer can do this at home. I built a tigerwood desk in my office, and I used Ipe plugs with the tigerwood just because I wanted the contrast. It was so easy, it's ridiculous. Any wood glue works fine. And again, they have the glue bottle in these boxes that you don't really need. You can use anything. Oh, and the last one for trim. Again, going back to trim boards where you can't use one of these hidden fastening methods. Besides the Pro Plug, you can actually just use trim screws. These are tiny headed screws. These happen to be, yes, these are stainless steel, as they really should be stainless steel in this case because you're not going to cover the head with anything. Now, pardon me. You can drive these quite a bit, fairly deep into the face of the boards. In fact, most folks are driving them about 1/8 of an inch into the face of the board because the heads are so small. What happens is the wood actually kind of wraps around it, leaving a tiny pinhead on the top. Now, technically, you could use your own wood putty. You would take the sawdust from the Ipe, mix it with glue, and then kind of plug it in that hole and sand it over. That works fine, but you don't really need to. These trim screws are very effective. Frankly, they're pretty cheap. And it's a really easy way to go. You still have to pre-drill the holes for those stainless steel trim screws. But I think we've just about covered everything. We covered face screwing, stainless steel screws with the Smart Bit, our deck clips. Again, there are other deck clips on the market that work okay and fine. Some other ones that I don't think they work that well. We like ours because they have a big grab. And what I mean by grab is they have that 1/2 inch on either side. Again, you do want to use subfloor adhesive on the joists with these. And the screws that come with them are coated steel screws, coated 599 Magna coated. Yeah, that's correct. Then the next thing we went over was the camo. Just a quick recap. Camo Marksman Pro, edge fastening, not the camo clip system. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the edge fastening method. We talked about Protect coated as opposed to stainless steel. You can use stainless steel. Camo's website and the folks there will tell you that you should use stainless steel. We've not found that to be the case. Of course, you'll get your pre-drill and your drives. Deckmaster undermount fastening system. We talked about that. Pro Plug, and again, the trim screw. So we've covered everything. Those are the 4 main fastening methods with 2 methods of trim fastening. I do want to go into a little bit more detail about these, but I'm going to do that in following videos. So hopefully this answers some questions that you may have had about how am I going to fasten these boards together, because folks have been asking me to do a video like this for quite some time, and today I finally got around to it. So have a good day. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with the next video soon.